All right, today we're going to talk about something that's, well, it's pretty intense and, honestly, often totally misunderstood. We're talking about the infamous INFJ door slam. It's that jarring experience that can leave you just completely confused and wondering what on earth just happened.
I want you to think for a second. Have you ever had a friendship, one of those really close relationships that felt deep and real, and then suddenly, it just went ice cold?
You know the feeling. One day you're sharing everything, you feel that genuine connection, and the very next, you just hit a brick wall of silence. No big fight, no drama, not even a text explaining why. Just nothing. A sudden, confusing end to a bond you thought was totally solid.
Well, that whole experience, it actually has a name, especially in the world of Myers-Briggs personality types. It's called the INFJ door slam, and it's exactly what it sounds like, an INFJ's final decision to cut someone out of their life. And yeah, the key words here are completely and permanently. This is not a timeout.
So to really get why this happens, we can't just look at the action itself. We've got to go deeper. We need to step into the inner world of an INFJ to really understand the logic behind what seems like, well, a pretty drastic move.
Here's the absolute heart of it all. For an INFJ, it's not about just collecting friends. They're searching for deep, authentic connections. They're incredibly selective because for them, relationships are always about quality over quantity.
You can almost think of it like they have this internal sorting system. On one side, you have the absolute must-haves: deep connections, shared values, loyalty, authenticity. And on the other side, you've got the total deal breakers: fake connections, phoniness, and betrayal. See, for an INFJ, their social energy is a really precious resource, and they are not about to waste it on anything that feels fake.
So now that we get the mindset, let's break down the 6 main reasons, the 6 keys really, that can actually trigger a door slam.
All right, number 1. And this one's a biggie. It's probably the most devastating of them all.
You have to understand, for an INFJ who invests so much, loyalty isn't just a nice-to-have. It's the absolute bedrock of the entire connection. So a serious betrayal, we're talking sharing a deep secret or a major act of disloyalty, it doesn't just crack the foundation, it shatters it. Instantly.
Now, another trigger, and this one's a bit different. It's that slow, dawning realization that there's a fundamental mismatch in values.
And look, we're not talking about small stuff here, like what toppings you like on your pizza. We're talking about the big things. Discovering that someone in your inner circle has core beliefs about honesty or compassion or integrity that are just completely opposite to your own. For an INFJ, trying to continue that relationship feels like a betrayal of who they are.
Okay, reason number 3. This one comes from something INFJs find unbelievably draining: persistent inauthenticity.
Hey, remember we talked about those deal breakers? INFJs have this uncanny, almost built-in radar for when someone is being fake. And having to engage with that kind of performative energy is just exhausting. They simply will not waste their own energy trying to maintain a facade.
Next up, and listen, this one is absolutely crucial. It's repeated boundary violations. Here's the thing. INFJs are usually incredibly patient. They'll give people so many chances. They will clearly state their needs, hoping the other person will get it and respect them. But if someone just consistently plows right through those boundaries again and again, the INFJ will eventually conclude that the only way to protect their own space is to build a wall.
The 5th key is being exposed to a relentless pattern of just negativity or outright cruelty.
Because of their deep sense of empathy, INFJs are kind of like emotional sponges. They absorb the feelings of people around them. So being constantly exposed to someone who's toxic or cruel isn't just unpleasant. It feels like a personal assault on their well-being. They cut that tie not to be judgmental, but purely to protect their own mental health.
And the final reason, the one that really seals that door shut for good, is the exhaustion of every other option.
And this is so important to understand. The door slam is never the first choice. It is the absolute last resort. It only happens after this agonizing internal debate and after they've tried everything: talking, understanding, forgiving, and it's all failed. It's that quiet, painful admission that a relationship is just broken beyond repair.
So we've seen all the whys. Now let's try to reframe the act itself. Because it's really easy to look at the door slam and see it as cold or aggressive, right? But that's just the view from the outside. From the INFJ's perspective, it is something else entirely.
At the end of the day, the door slam is not about punishment. The goal is not to inflict pain on somebody else. The goal is self-preservation. It is a powerful, powerful defense mechanism to protect their inner world from any more damage.
There's this idea that just sums it up perfectly. The loudest silence is not an act of hate, but a final, desperate defense of a quiet inner world. It's not an attack, it's a retreat to safety.
And you know, while we've been focusing on INFJs, this whole theme is pretty universal. It kind of leaves us with a question to reflect on in our own lives. When is closing a door the only way you have left to protect what's inside? Something to think about. Thanks for joining us.